Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin-Stoltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, I've been traveling, but I've been traveling back in time, trying to get to know these amazing women, les filles du roi, the king's daughters, and all they brought to New France and ultimately to North America. It's been an honor and a thrill, actually, to get to know all of these amazing women. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The best way I know is to subscribe, like, and notify. All that helps my logarithm so very, very much. So I appreciate each and every one of you clicking that subscribe button. I also want to make sure that you know that on my website, Have Roots Will Travel, you can go on there and look at the ones I've done before. We're currently doing episode 267. So there's 266 of Les Filles du Roi and approximately 70 of Les Filles Mariées. So that being said, there's a lot of episodes we've been doing over the last several years. So have a look at that. There's a alphabetical listing, and then you can actually, once you get the number, the episode number, then you can go and look at the numerical listing and click on the link. So it should be fairly easy. I hope it is. So let me know in the comments below if there are any that you would like to see or were wondering about. So please, I love getting suggestions. So that being said, let's get to know our episode number 267 of this time. All right. Today we're going to be looking at episode 267, Jeanne, Toussaint. Now, this is a viewer request, but when I looked in my files, I couldn't believe it. We have the boy next door. This is one of his great-grandmothers, and his wife. This is also one of her great-grandmothers. Then I have one of my genealogy, I want to say colleagues, that this is also one of her great-grandmothers. And to top it off, Madonna herself. This is one of her great-grandmothers. So let's have a look at Jeanne and find out what she's all about. So, first of all, we start with, we don't know where she's from. We know, obviously, she's probably from France. We don't know where she was born. We know about when she was born in 1652, and we know nothing about her parents. So let's move on to see when she comes to New France. So at about 18 years of age, she sails on La Nouvelle France. July 30th, 1670 is when she arrives. We do not have any information about her carrying a dowry of any kind. We just know that she's on that manifest. Interesting about Jeanne is she charts kind of a new path. She doesn't get off the boat and say, okay, I'm going to get married. She actually signs a one-year contract at Cap de la Madeleine with Madeleine de Chavigny, and she fulfills that contract. So that's kind of an interesting story about her journey, if you will. That she selects eventually, and who selects her, his name, Noël Carpentier, and he was born about 1643. For him as well, unknown location and unknown parents. Boy, these two are really a match made in the unknown. So we do find Noël in the 1666 census. He is living with Pierre Lefebvre, and he is a domestic servant. He may have started his apprenticeship 3 years before or sometime between 1666. He might have just arrived. We do not know. Normally, the contract he would have signed would be between 3 and 5 years. So sometime in 1672, Jeanne and Noël are married. We do not have a marriage contract, which is one of the main reasons, we don't know their family name or where the parish they're from. That's why it's so important to have that information. If someone ever finds that information, it will absolutely unlock the keys and the mystery of these two. So they were married. We don't even know if it was Cap de la Madeleine or Champlain. We just assume, rightly so, that they were married. So they would settle first at Cap de la Madeleine. Cap de Madeleine was founded March 20th, 1651. The establishment was named by Jacques de la Ferté, who was the abbot of Sainte-Madeleine de Château-d'Eau in France. The city is now famous for its basilica, Basilique Notre-Dame du Cap, dedicated to Our Lady of the Cape. This basilica receives thousands of pilgrims and visitors every year. It was the site of 2 miracles. So it is a truly holy place. Now, this beautiful shoreline, I love this picture because, even though obviously it was taken in today's world, I can't imagine it would have looked really that much different during the time of Marie-Jeanne and Noël. So I like to imagine, when I stare at this and I know the couple has lived at Cap de la Madeleine, I kind of imagine that they would have lived in this area. The Seigneury of Champlain was first granted on August 8th, 1664. The very first French occupants of Champlain settled here during that time, 1664 or 1665. There had been a first attempt to settle on land in the 1640s, but the distance from other settlements and the Iroquois threat discouraged settlement. The first settlers established their seigneuries and were able to really create a community. Now, some of the first families did come from Trois-Rivières, and some of the families include the families of Antoine Desrosiers, François Chorel, and Pierre Dandonneau. So just to give you a little bit of history of this area. La Paroisse Notre-Dame de la Visitation, you can see all the churches that were built. This one is the last one. 1666 is that very first church that was built. 1700, 1807, and 1879. And as the family grew, it grew to include 10 children that were born to this couple. The first was Marie-Madeleine, married Jean Guivremont, and would have 5 children, 2 of whom would make it to adulthood. Marie-Jeanne became a nun with the Notre Dame congregation and was called Sister Geneviève. Etienne married Madeleine Rouillard and would have 12 children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. Médard married Jeanne Provencher and would have 7 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Marguerite married Jacques Valois and would have 12 children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Antoinette never married. Marie-Thérèse would marry Pierre Bourbeau and have 9 children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. Anne-Céleste married René Réville and would have 10 children, 5 of whom made it to adulthood. Jacques would die in infancy. And finally, Noël would marry Marie Dagneau and would have 13 children, 7 of whom would make it to adulthood. And then we have the 1681 census, where Noël is listed, and then Jeanne, 29, Enfant, their children are Marie, we have Jeanne, we have Etienne, we have Médard. The other ones were born after. Médard is only 1 month at this time. They have 4 bêtes à cornes, which are 4 goats or bulls, anything with a horn. And then they have 20 arpents, about 17 to 18 acres of land. Very good. Jeanne would die at the age of 56, very young even for that era. She and Noël would have been married 36 years. She would leave us with 69 descendants as of 1729. Noël would die 20 years later, and he did not remarry. He would pass away at the age of 85. And Noël and Marie-Jeanne are featured in our French-Canadian Ancestors, Volume 8. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a copy of this particular series, it's a series of, I think, 29 volumes, that would be awesome if you can put your actual hands on it. If not, I urge you to go to the Facebook group, Our Free French-Canadian Ancestors, because they will provide you with this link and the information. So have a look. You can download the file and read all about it. You don't even have to download. You can just open it. And really a good Facebook group for information. So we come to the end of Marie-Jeanne episode. It was a pleasure to get to know her, and more of a pleasure because of the fact that she was the great grandmother of so many people. The viewer who requested it, Madonna, the boy next door and his wife, one of my colleagues. So it became like, wow, this was amazing. Now the Cat-Palsy line is a very strong line in Quebec, and obviously is a very, very strong pioneer family. So please let me know in the comments below if this is your descendancy. Would love to hear about that. But Marie-Jeanne was truly a strong and vibrant woman who ultimately gave of herself so that she and her posterity could continue. We bless her memory, and we are grateful that she took the chance and came to our shores. So thank you to Marie-Jeanne. And I say thank you to my patrons, supporters, and subscribers. Thank you to each and every one of you. You truly make a difference, and you keep it going on. So thank you for letting me tell my stories. Until I see you on episode number, I guess it's going to be 268, I will say goodbye. Until then, or as in French we say, au revoir.